Now that a lot of first year students living in halls have settled in, a number of them are going to be looking at where they're going to be living next year. This can be a daunting prospect for many, so I'm here to offer some advice, information and answer a few questions that some of the students may be asking in the next coming months. To answer a lot of those questions, I'm here at the Nuffield Centre to speak to Hannah Wells from the University's Housing Office. Let's go say hello. After the first year, do students have to live in the private sector or can they remain in halls?
Students do have to move out of halls after their first year unless they actually have any special circumstances that require them to be remaining living in halls.
What is the housing list and what information does it hold?
Housing list does exactly what it says in the tin. It's a list of houses and flats that are registered with student housing. The information on there is quite brief, but it's all quite essential. It's got the road name of the property and also whereabouts it is in the city. It's got the landlord's name and contact number on there, so students can telephone the landlord themselves and make their own appointments to go and view properties. Also has information about what rent level you'll be charged, what deposit you'll be expected to pay, and also whether any bills are included as well.
When do the housing lists come out?
Our housing and lodgings lists are actually available all throughout the academic year and also over the summer breaks as well. But the housing information for any September lets traditionally comes out at the start of March.
Do I have to find a house off the list or can I look elsewhere?
Not necessarily. You can rent property through one of the many local letting agencies based in and around Southsea, as well as lots of other private landlords who also rent out property to students. So you don't have to limit your search just to what's on our housing list.
Will all the good houses go in the first few days?
No, not at all. In fact, a lot of landlords who register their houses with student housing do tend to hold off advertising their properties for September until a bit later on in the year because they may be doing renovation work on the property. So if you did want something that's perhaps been freshly decorated or got new carpets or new furniture in, it is worth biding your time and seeing what's available.
So I found a house. What money is there to pay up front?
The first amount of money that you'll be expected to pay when you sign up to a property through a landlord registered with ourselves will be the first month's rent, and you'll also be expected to pay a deposit as well, which is typically either equal to 1 month's rent on the property or about a month and a half.
How much money am I expected to pay on rent?
The average rent for a standard student house in Southsea this year seems to be ranging between £68 up to £72 per person per week, depending on the specification of the property. So remember, you won't get a palace for £40 per week.
What if all the houses go and I've got nowhere to live?
Don't worry, we have never had a student without a house, but if you are struggling, either on your own or in your group, just come and speak to a student housing officer and we'll point you in the right direction.
Hopefully that would have answered some questions that you may be tempted to ask in the future. However, if you feel there's any unanswered questions, the housing team here are always willing to offer some advice and suggestions to you. If you want to email them, you can at student.housing@port.ac.uk, or you can pop up to the second floor of the Nuffield Centre. Their office hours are 9:30 till 5 on Monday to Thursday and 9:30 till 4 on a Friday. So, it's all very well being prepared to move into the private sector, but what's it actually like living there?
Well, my bedroom's much bigger than the halls, which is nice.
I found myself doing a bit more kind of group projects. I worked with the people I moved in with.
But, I don't know, generally it's just nicer being out of halls, really. So.
I hope this short guide has helped you avoid some stress that you may experience when looking for accommodation in your second year. But for now, back to the studio.